From making multiple videos with a psychotic Ronald McDonald to now being filmmakers making an A24 horror movie, Danny and Michael, I'm proud of you guys. Hey movie buffs, I'm Jack Benner and welcome to my review of Talk to Me. Talk to Me is a new A24 horror movie directed by Danny and Michael Philippou. This is their directorial debut, or if you know them on YouTube, they are also known as RackaRacka. The film follows a group of teenagers and they discover how to conjure spirits using a mysterious embalmed hand. At first, it seemed to be an exciting new thrill for them until one of them goes too far. I've always enjoyed Danny and Michael's videos on the RackaRacka YouTube channel. With their high energy, insanity with the violence and gore, their effects, stunt work, shock humor. Their videos are wild, energetic, absolutely insane, and hilarious. And some of my favorite videos I've seen from him that I can think of, the Marvel vs. DC video, which was actually the first video I've seen from them that made me hooked on their channel, both the Harry Potter and Star Wars videos, and of the Ronald McDonald videos they've done, I would say my favorite would be the Playground Slaughter video. That video was just absolutely insane, like, oh my god, and hilarious too. Oh my god, that video. And I was very excited when I heard they were making a horror movie. And looking back to their videos with their style and energy makes me curious to see how they would do as filmmakers. Talk to Me got in at the Sundance Film Festival to great reviews, thus leading to A24 purchasing the film, which makes sense that they would since a horror film like this would be right up their alley. Talk to Me was one of my most anticipated movies of the summer, was highly anticipating RackaRacka's directorial debut. And I finally saw Talk to Me last week, and Danny and Michael Philippou absolutely knocked it out of the park with an amazing directorial debut here. Talk to Me, all I can say is what a wild and twisted ride this was. And definitely one of the scariest and most unsettling horror movies I've seen in a while. Let's start this review with the pros. First thing that is absolutely praiseworthy about this movie is the directing from Danny and Michael Philippou. And it's insane to me watching this movie that these guys are YouTubers and first-time filmmakers. This reminds me what I love about great directorial debuts. Seeing talented new filmmakers on the rise unleash their skills right out of the gate. And this is some of the most impressive horror filmmaking I've seen in a while. From the amazing cinematography and color palette that make this movie atmospheric, chilling sound design, great musical score, makeup, and use of practical effects. I really love the terrific camera work in this movie, using interesting and unique camera movements during the possession scenes that make this movie thrilling, along with a fantastic building of tension that gave me anxiety, that were heart-pounding to watch, just what it's building up to. There's even a great one-take scene at the beginning of this movie. Just how the camera moves and turns, it's just amazing to watch. And the second time that this group of teenagers used the embalmed hand, again after the first time they've done it. And when things go down in that scene, it contains one of the most scariest and brutal scenes that I've seen in a horror movie. Like, oh my god. And there is just some imagery in this movie that is so creepy, haunting, and unsettling that haven't left my mind ever since I've seen this movie. I also found this movie to be a unique spin on demonic possession. I wouldn't say this film would be the most original, but the execution was fantastic. With a mysterious object used on how to conjure spirits, what are the rules? And you know, as they say, it's all fun and games until someone gets hurt, and yeah, I'll just leave it at that. And just after that and the consequences and what the characters are going through, it was just so intense and riveting to watch. And I didn't always know where this movie was going. But what I found fascinating about this movie is this wasn't just a style over substance horror movie. It actually does have a strong emotional core to it, elevating depth to this movie, focusing on grief and giving the main character a backstory and what she's been through in the past. This film does a great job establishing the protagonist at the beginning of this movie, taking his time very well, without feeling rushed or dragging it too much, where I was like, okay, just get to the hand scene already. Showing her distant relationship with her father and the people around her, like her best friend and her ex-boyfriend. And speaking of which, the performances in this movie are all great. And I believe some of them are first-time actors or this is their first big movie from them. And luckily, there isn't a single weak link in this movie. And just how these play these teenagers and how they would act or behave with this hand. And how they use social media and how it first seems exciting, but later it starts to become dangerous. And the main performance I want to talk about here is Sophie Wilde as Mia, the main character of this movie. All I can say is, what a fantastic breakthrough performance from her. Oh my god, she absolutely killed it in this movie. Doing an absolutely amazing job in her first starring role with her charisma, emotions, creepiness, and terror during the intense scenes of this movie, while also excelling as the emotional core of the film. Just an absolutely terrific job from Sophie Wilde in this movie, and I'm very excited to see what movie she does next in the future. She's got a lot of talent in this movie. And she still stays strong as the emotional core in this movie, and there's even a scene with her father in the middle of this movie that I actually found it to be surprisingly heartbreaking, and I did not expect to see this in this movie. And not only does this movie focus on grief, but I can kind of starting to see this movie as an allegory for addiction. So that was something may seem cool at first, but later deadly as the film goes on. Starting to see that as an interesting way to reflect on the movie, and curious to see that if it will be explored more on a second viewing of this movie. As for issues or nitpicks, I don't really have a lot of issues with this movie other than I wasn't entirely certain on how I feel about the third act of this movie or the way it concludes. Part of me can kind of see what they're going for, but I don't think everything worked for me. In conclusion, Talk to Me is a knockout directorial debut from Danny and Michael Philippou. That's chilling, tense, unsettling, haunting, atmospheric, and unpredictable. And it's a distinct horror movie that kept me on edge throughout the duration of this movie. Never feeling rushed, nor does it overstay its welcome. Highly impressive horror filmmaking, great performances, and a strong emotional core. I would highly recommend this movie to you if you're fans of the RackaRacka YouTube channel and excited to see how Danny and Michael do for their directorial debut. Or if you're fans of the horror genre and you're looking for a good horror movie, you definitely got one. And if you're also a fan of A24 horror movies, I definitely think it's one of the best ones they've done. Or you're not familiar with Danny and Michael Philippou from RackaRacka, I definitely think you should check out this movie if it looks interesting to you. However, if you're not a fan of the horror genre, doesn't look interesting to you, not your cup of tea, you could skip this movie if you want. Watching this movie in the theaters, it definitely reminds me what I love about A24 as a studio, putting out bold, daring, and unique films. Currently, at the time of recording this, it already made $46 million worldwide on a $4.5 million budget. It makes me happy that good word of mouth is spreading to this movie, and I really hope it continues to spread because this is such an amazing and well-crafted horror movie. So if you're looking for a great horror movie to go see in theaters right now, if it's playing near you, definitely go see Talk to Me as soon as you can. And now to grade it, I'm going to give Talk to Me 4.5 stars out of 5, and A. We've had not one, but two great A24 movies I have seen this summer. Not only this, but a movie I saw a month ago at an Alamo Drafthouse Film Club screening, Past Lives. I finally got to check that movie out after the rave reviews, and I think it lived up to hype. An absolutely fantastic movie that really moved me and has definitely stuck with me after seeing it, and that is definitely high on my favorite films of 2023 so far. If you do get the chance to see Past Lives or Talk to Me, go see those movies as soon as you can. And I've been hearing that Danny and Michael Philippou might direct a Street Fighter movie in the future, and if you have seen their videos, I could definitely think they can make an awesome Street Fighter movie, so make that happen, Hollywood. Also, I've been hearing recently that a sequel is in talks for this movie. I am curious to see what they could do with the sequel if they have a good idea, and I would definitely be down for a sequel or another horror movie if not a sequel to this movie like this in the future. I definitely think both Danny and Michael Philippou have such a bright future as filmmakers in Hollywood. And I would put this movie up with The Lighthouse as one of the best A24 horror movies that they've done, and it's also one of my favorite films of the summer and year so far. So I'd like to hear from you guys. What do you guys think of Talk to Me if you've seen it? Do you agree, disagree with my review? Or if you haven't seen it, are you looking forward to seeing the film or not? Let me know down below. Did you enjoy hearing my thoughts on this movie and want to see more reviews like this in the future? If yes, please hit that like and subscribe button if you're new here, and don't forget that notification bell for my next upload in the future. It really means a lot. And until the next video, I'm Jack Benner, and look forward to another movie review.